Picture a windswept plain in northern Germany. The year is 1885, and two young boys clutch each other's hands as their mother, Louise, quietly sells the family farm. There is no epic parade, no last-minute fanfare, just the sharp edge of necessity. With their father gone, the Duesenberg family is staring down a future filled with uncertainty. Yet, what separates the story of Fred and August Duesenberg from the rest of the millions who crossed the Atlantic seeking a better life is not luck but the steel in their spirit. When the ship departs from Bremen, little Fred, barely 9, and August, only 6, have no idea that Iowa will soon become their new home. Floyd County, Iowa is a world apart from Germany. The fertile land sprawls endlessly, and the Duesenbergs join their older brother Henry, who has already crossed the ocean. Conrad, another sibling, smartly purchases a 200-acre farm using the family's collective resources. It is a poetic twist. The land that had once defined their heritage in Germany now marks the beginning of a chapter distinctly American. Fred and August are far from alone in their journey, as hundreds of thousands of German immigrants flood the Midwest at the turn of the century. But their path is anything but predictable. The community they find is tough, the winters biting, and the language foreign, but adaptation quickly becomes second. Education for immigrant children in the Midwest is an exercise in resilience. The Duesenberg brothers attend public school in Iowa through the 8th grade, soaking up English and new customs with remarkable speed. What makes their story stand out is not merely academic success or survival. It is the hunger for mechanical innovation that sets them apart. Fred, ever curious, begins tinkering with anything he can get his hands on: windmills, farm machinery, and, perhaps most fatefully, bicycles. His hands become rough and nimble. He approaches each problem as a challenge to be overcome. It is not long before adolescent ambition transforms into entrepreneurial spirit. Fred finds work at a local farm implement dealer at the age of 17, learning the intricacies of gears, levers, and engines. For families like the Duesenbergs, every penny earned is precious, but Fred is not content with the routine. He is drawn to the world of racing, a realm of adrenaline and innovation. As bicycles become the centerpiece of their livelihood and passion, Fred persuades August to join him in racing. In the blink of an eye, the Duesenberg name begins to echo throughout Iowa and neighboring states. Winning bicycle races provides attention, but the reputation they gain from solving mechanical problems quickly becomes their true currency. The turn of the century brings a seismic shift. Engines are replacing horses, and every self-respecting dreamer wants to ride the mechanical tide. The Duesenbergs, never content to settle, sell their bicycle repair shop in Des Moines. Fred sets off to Wisconsin, taking a job with Thomas B. Jeffrey and Company, a company producing the now iconic Rambler car. There, he not only refines his skills but learns firsthand about the difficulties facing the infant automotive industry. It is a crash course delivered on factory floors, not in textbooks. Fred returns to Iowa and soon finds himself in Des Moines, where the first auto repair garage opens its doors to him. Every broken engine is another lesson, every satisfied customer another step up the ladder. August, meanwhile, charts a parallel course. He stays in Iowa, focusing on mastering the nitty-gritty of repair and manufacturing. Instead of formal apprenticeships, Augie is a self-taught innovator, stubbornly pushing the limits of what bicycles and motorcycles can become. In the trade directories of 1908, his name pops up for the first time as a manufacturer, a testament to both ambition and practicality. By now, August has a family to support, having married Gertrude, and further proof that necessity is often the mother of invention. Their approach to business might be pragmatic, but their drive is anything but ordinary. Their early ventures are not immune to setbacks. The first bicycle shop goes bankrupt after a few years, a reality check that would permanently mark their approach to risk. But here is where the ironies pile up. Bankruptcy is no deterrent, and soon another shop rises in its place. Rather than letting adversity stamp out their dreams, the Duesenbergs learn to view failure as a signpost, not an endpoint. Their reputation, as both racers and mechanics, expands, setting the stage for increasingly ambitious undertakings. By 1913, the Duesenberg brothers have not only survived but thrived in a landscape notorious for chewing up and spitting out newcomers. They have shifted gears from struggling immigrants to respected inventors. What separates their journey from thousands of others is not just ingenuity, but an irrepressible urge to make their mark. While most immigrants blend quietly into America's fabric, Fred and August stand out. Their boldness is fueled by adversity and shaped by the countless mechanical puzzles they have solved on dusty Iowa farm roads. The story here is not merely of two boys who escaped poverty. It is the beginning of a legend. Through skill, grit, and ceaseless work, the Duesenbergs lay the foundation for what will soon become one of the most storied names in automotive history. They are not destined to remain in Iowa forever. The hunger for innovation will soon propel them to Chicago, Minneapolis, New York, and finally, Indianapolis, the heart of America's car-building ambition. But every titan starts somewhere humble, and for Fred and August Duesenberg, that somewhere is a backwater farm in Rockford, Iowa. Pause to consider the odds. How often does the son of a farmer in Europe journey halfway across the globe only to become a pillar of engineering brilliance? The Duesenberg story is not linear. It zigzags from poverty and setback to calculated triumphs. The lessons learned in Iowa shape every decision, and the sense of community, while sometimes exclusionary, fuels their determination to carve out a niche. In their hearts, there is more than ambition. There is longing to prove that ingenuity can triumph over circumstance. The final lines of this first chapter echo the resounding truth of American myth. Persistence and adaptation make legends possible. Fred and August Duesenberg, sons of German soil and Iowa tradition, will soon step onto the stage of automotive greatness. Their journey has only begun, and the coming years will test their mettle like never before. As they ready themselves for new challenges in a rapidly changing nation, the promise is clear: greatness often grows in the most unlikely fields. The thrill of speed is addictive. For Fred Duesenberg, the rush first arrives not behind the wheel of a car, but atop a bicycle racing through Iowa's dusty backroads in the 1890s. Speed is not merely recreation, it is a proving ground. When Fred and August throw themselves into bicycle racing, they discover that victory belongs to those who understand the machinery as intimately as their own heartbeat. Every gear ratio, every adjustment to the chain tension, every modification to reduce weight matters. The brothers do not simply ride. They engineer their way to the winner's circle. This obsession with mechanical perfection becomes the cornerstone of their entire career. By the turn of the century, bicycles are no longer enough. Internal combustion engines are reshaping the world, and Fred Duesenberg realizes that the future belongs to powered machines. Around 1900, the brothers design their first gasoline-powered engine, a crude, sputtering contraption by modern standards, but revolutionary in its ambition. They begin building motorcycles, marrying their racing experience with this new technology. Each engine is hand-assembled, each failure dissected and corrected. The process is painstaking, but the Duesenbergs are nothing if not patient. Their motorcycles quickly gain a reputation for reliability and speed, two qualities that will define the Duesenberg name for decades. The leap from motorcycles to automobiles is not instantaneous, but it is inevitable. Fred takes a job in Des Moines at an automobile garage, where he gets his hands dirty repairing the newfangled horseless carriages that are beginning to appear on American roads. The work is grueling and the pay modest, but every broken crankshaft and seized piston teaches him something invaluable. He absorbs knowledge like a sponge, understanding that the automotive industry is still in its infancy and ripe for innovation. By 1904, Fred has caught the attention of Edward R. Mason, a wealthy lawyer in Des Moines with automotive ambitions. Mason sees in Fred a rare combination of mechanical genius and competitive fire. Mason offers Fred financial backing to develop racing automobiles, and the Mason Motor Company is born. Fred brings August into the fold, and together they begin designing four-cylinder racing engines. The Mason Motor Company is a modest operation, but it allows the Duesenbergs to experiment with racing technology at a level they could never afford on their own. Their first racing cars are competitive, though not dominant. They score respectable finishes in local races throughout the Midwest, building a reputation as serious contenders. The experience is priceless. Every race teaches them about stress points, about the limits of materials, about what separates a good car from a great one. But Mason and his partner, Frederick Maytag, yes, the washing machine Maytag, proved to be inexperienced businessmen when it comes to automobiles. Despite the technical prowess of the Duesenberg brothers, the Mason Motor Company struggles financially. Cars are expensive to produce and difficult to sell, especially in the highly competitive marketplace of the early 1900s. By 1910, Fred realizes that the partnership is doomed. He leaves the company to focus exclusively on racing and engine design, setting up his own shop in Des Moines. The Mason Motor Company limps along for a few more years before dissolving completely in 1913. It is a harsh lesson in the economics of the automotive industry, but one that Fred will never forget. Free from the constraints of the Mason partnership, Fred throws himself into developing what will become his signature innovation: the walking beam four-cylinder engine. This revolutionary design uses a unique valve actuation system that delivers more power and reliability than competing engines. It is a technical marvel, and it immediately attracts attention in racing circles. The Duesenberg brothers enter their cars in increasingly prestigious races, including the Iowa State Fair races where Fred himself takes the wheel. In 1907, disaster strikes when Fred crashes through a fence during a test run, breaking his shoulder. The accident ends his career as a driver, but it does nothing to diminish his passion for racing. He simply shifts roles, becoming the designer and team owner instead. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway opens in 1909, and it quickly becomes the proving ground for American automotive innovation. Every serious manufacturer wants to compete at Indianapolis, and the Duesenberg brothers are no exception. Their first appearance at the Indianapolis 500 occurs in 1912, but it is a disappointment. Their car suffers mechanical failure and never even makes it to the starting line. It is a humiliating setback, but the brothers refuse to be deterred. They analyze what went wrong, redesign their engines, and return stronger. Racing at Indianapolis is brutally expensive and unforgiving, but it is also the fastest way to prove that your engineering is world-class. Around 1910, Fred begins work on an even more ambitious project: a straight-eight engine. 8 cylinders arranged in a line deliver unprecedented smoothness and power compared to the 4-cylinder engines that dominate the era. The engineering challenges are immense: balancing the crankshaft, managing heat dissipation, ensuring reliability under racing conditions. But Fred is undaunted. He spends years perfecting the design, testing countless variations. By 1919, the Duesenberg straight-eight engine is finally ready, and it is a masterpiece. The engine produces more horsepower than anything else on American roads, and it runs with a smoothness that astonishes competitors. The brothers also diversify beyond racing. During World War I, they secure a lucrative contract to build marine engines for the United States military. The contract is worth $50,000, an enormous sum at the time, and it provides the capital they desperately need to expand operations. They move from Iowa to New Jersey, then to St. Paul, Minnesota, where they established the Duesenberg Motor Company in 1913. The company produces marine engines, truck engines, and prototype racing engines. It is a chaotic, ambitious operation, but it keeps the lights on and allows Fred to continue his racing development. The war years are profitable, but they are also a distraction from the brothers' true passion: building the fastest cars on Earth. By the end of World War I, the Duesenberg brothers are ready to dominate. They have a revolutionary engine, years of racing experience, and a reputation for uncompromising quality. The stage is set for their assault on the international racing scene, and the world is about to discover what two immigrant mechanics from Iowa can accomplish when they refuse to accept anything less than perfection. The walking beam engine is a triumph, but the straight 8 is a revelation. It will carry Duesenberg to heights that no American automotive company has ever reached, and it will make their name synonymous with speed, power, and mechanical excellence. The fever for racing has consumed the brothers entirely, but it is about to pay dividends beyond their wildest dreams. Innovation often arrives not with a thunderclap, but with a quiet stroke of genius in a dimly lit workshop. By 1910, Fred and August Duesenberg are no longer content to simply repair engines. They want to revolutionize them. The brothers begin sketching designs for a completely new type of engine, one that addresses the fundamental flaws plaguing early automotive and marine power plants. Valves are sticking, lubrication is inconsistent, and combustion efficiency is abysmal. The solution they devise is audacious. Horizontal valves perpendicular to the cylinder axis, actuated by enormous rocker arms that resemble the walking beams of old steamboat engines. It is a design so unconventional that competitors dismiss it as impractical, yet so brilliant that it will define Duesenberg engineering for years to come. The walking beam engine earns its colorful name from the massive rocker arms that dominate its appearance. These arms, sometimes stretching over a foot in length, rock back and forth as the camshaft rotates, opening and closing the horizontal valves with mechanical precision. The valves themselves are positioned in a small, rectangular clearance space above the cylinders, allowing for better seating and more efficient combustion than the exposed, vertically mounted valves common in competing engines. The entire valve train is enclosed and bathed in pressurized oil, a luxury in an era when most engines relied on exposed valves lubricated by primitive grease cups. The result is an engine that runs cooler, lasts longer, and produces more power per cubic inch than anything else on the market. Fred files the patent application for the walking beam valve gear in April of 1913, though the valve system is later divided from the original engine patent and granted separately in October of 1917 as United States Patent Number 1,244,481. The patent document meticulously outlines the advantages: superior valve seating, reduced sticking due to heat, improved lubrication, and enhanced combustion efficiency. It is not merely an incremental improvement, it is a paradigm shift. Competitors who examine the design are forced to admit, often grudgingly, that the Duesenberg brothers have solved problems that have plagued internal combustion engines since their inception. The walking beam engine is a testament to the power of first principles thinking applied by two largely self-taught mechanics. Word of the Duesenberg walking beam engine spreads quickly through industrial circles. In 1913, Commodore James A. Pugh, a wealthy sportsman with a passion for speedboats, approaches the brothers with an audacious proposal: build a 12-cylinder marine engine for his new racing boat, Disturber 4. The contract is worth $50,000, an astronomical sum that represents financial salvation for the fledgling Duesenberg Motor Company. Fred and August accept immediately, understanding that this is the break they have been working toward for over a decade. The 12-cylinder engine they designed for Disturber 4 is essentially two 6-cylinder walking beam engines joined at the crankcase, producing a combined displacement of over 1,000 cubic inches and generating 150 horsepower. The construction of the Disturber 4 engines is a masterclass in precision engineering. Each engine weighs over 1,000 pounds and features 7 main bearings supporting a single-piece crankshaft, an engineering choice that enhances durability but complicates manufacturing. The brothers install the engines in a mirrored configuration so that the propellers rotate in opposite directions, canceling out torque effects and improving the boat's stability at high speed. Through step-up gearboxes with a ratio of 1.25 to 1, the propellers spin at 2,000 revolutions per minute while the engines themselves run at 1,600. On July 2, 1914, Disturber 4 is officially launched on the Chicago River, achieving speeds in excess of 50 miles per hour during initial trials. The plan is to ship Disturber 4 to England for the prestigious Harmsworth Trophy race in August of 1914, but fate intervenes. World War I erupts just days before the race, and all international sporting events are cancelled indefinitely. The Duesenberg brothers and Commodore Pugh make the long voyage back to America empty-handed, but the publicity generated by the 12-cylinder engines is invaluable. The engineering community buzzes with excitement about the walking beam design, and orders begin trickling in for marine and industrial applications. August uses the return voyage to sketch improvements to the engines, and upon arrival back in St. Paul, the brothers immediately disassemble the power plants for modifications. They replace the bulky water-jacketed exhaust manifolds with individual vertical exhaust stacks, improving cooling and reducing weight. The success of the marine engines opens doors that had previously been locked tight. The Lowe Victor Company, an established engine manufacturer, retains Fred Duesenberg as a designer and commissions him to develop 6-cylinder and 8-cylinder versions of the walking beam engine for various applications. It is steady, lucrative work that allows the brothers to expand their operations and hire additional machinists and engineers. By early 1917, the relationship deepens when Duesenberg Motor Company and Lowe Victor combine to form Duesenberg Motors Corporation. The merger provides capital, manufacturing capacity, and access to distribution networks that the brothers could never achieve on their own. Suddenly, Duesenberg is no longer a scrappy startup. It is a legitimate player in the industrial engine market. World War I transforms the business landscape entirely. The United States military needs engines, thousands of them, for trucks, boats, and aircraft. The Duesenberg brothers pivot quickly, adapting their walking beam design for military applications. They develop a special 4-cylinder aircraft engine designated the Model A3, which produces 70 horsepower at 1,500 revolutions per minute and 85 at 2,220. The engine weighs just 365 pounds, an impressive power-to-weight ratio for the era. They also design an ambitious 60-degree V16 aircraft engine with a displacement of over 1,500 cubic inches, intended to produce 400 horsepower. Although the V16 never enters mass production before the war ends, it demonstrates the brothers' willingness to tackle engineering challenges that terrify competitors. By 1918, the Duesenberg factory in St. Paul is running at full capacity, churning out military engines around the clock. The war contracts bring financial stability and allow Fred to continue developing what will become his masterpiece, the straight-8 engine. Unlike the walking beam design with its horizontal valves, the straight-8 employs a more conventional overhead camshaft arrangement. Fred realizes that while the walking beam is brilliant for marine and industrial applications, the future of high-performance automotive engines lies in overhead cams and vertical valves. The straight-8 he envisions will combine the reliability of the walking beam with the high revving capability needed for racing dominance. It is a calculated evolution, not an abandonment of their earlier work. The armistice of November 1918 brings both relief and anxiety. Military contracts evaporate overnight, and Duesenberg Motors Corporation must pivot yet again, this time toward the civilian automotive market. Fred and August know that their reputation in racing is solid, but building passenger cars is an entirely different challenge. Engines must be not only powerful but also refined, quiet, and reliable over tens of thousands of miles. The walking beam design, for all its brilliance, is too expensive and complex for mass production. The brothers make the difficult decision to license the walking beam production rights to Rochester Motors Corporation of Rochester, New York, freeing them to focus exclusively on the straight-8 and the development of America's first true luxury automobile. The walking beam has served them well, but the future belongs to a new generation of Duesenberg engineering genius. The checkered flag drops at Le Mans on July 26, 1921, and history is made. Jimmy Murphy crosses the finish line in his Duesenberg racer, becoming the first American driver in an American car to win a Grand Prix on European soil. The French crowd erupts in astonishment. These unknown brothers from Iowa have just humiliated the continent's finest automotive engineers. Murphy's average speed of 78 miles per hour over the brutal 10.7-mile circuit is a testament not to luck, but to the relentless engineering perfectionism that defines Fred and August Duesenberg. The straight-8 engine that powers Murphy to victory is the culmination of years of development, combining high revving capability with unprecedented reliability. Europe will never look at American automotive engineering the same way again. The road to Le Mans begins in the chaos following World War I. With military contracts evaporating and Duesenberg Motors Corporation dissolving, Fred and August make a calculated gamble. They will build the world's fastest racing cars. In August of 1920, the brothers formally established Duesenberg Brothers Incorporated, a racing-focused company separate from their engine manufacturing operations. The timing is perfect. Racing resumes at Indianapolis Motor Speedway after a 2-year wartime hiatus, and European circuits are hungry for competition. Fred designs a revolutionary 3-liter straight-8 engine specifically for Grand Prix regulations, featuring a single overhead camshaft, aluminum pistons, and a power output approaching 90 horsepower. It is compact, powerful, and engineered with tolerances that make competitors' engines look primitive by comparison. The decision to race in Europe is audacious, bordering on reckless. Transporting cars across the Atlantic is expensive, and the competition is murderous. Ballet, Fiat, and Sunbeam have been racing on European circuits for decades. But Fred Duesenberg understands that victory in Europe will establish credibility that no amount of American racing success can provide. He personally selects 3 drivers for the assault on the French Grand Prix: Jimmy Murphy, Joe Boyer, and Albert Guillot. The cars are shipped to France in early summer of 1921, and Fred accompanies them to oversee final preparations. The French press is skeptical, viewing the American entries as curiosities rather than serious contenders. They are about to learn a painful lesson. The 1921 French Grand Prix is held on a triangular circuit near Le Mans, consisting of public roads that are poorly maintained and treacherous at speed. The 30-lap race covers over 320 miles, testing both machinery and human endurance. Murphy qualifies well, but the Ballet team, featuring racing legends Jules Gu and Ralph De Palma, are the favorites. The race begins at dawn on a Tuesday, and by the 3rd lap Murphy has pushed his Duesenberg into 3rd place. The straight-8 engine screams through the gears, hitting over 100 miles per hour on the long straights. Lap after lap, Murphy inches closer to the leaders, his driving becoming more aggressive as he senses victory within reach. On lap 23, he overtakes De Palma's Ballet and never looks back. The victory at Le Mans sends shockwaves through the automotive world. American newspapers trumpet the achievement, and orders for Duesenberg racing engines pour in from independent teams across the country. But Fred Duesenberg is already focused on the next challenge: total dominance at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Indy 500 is the crown jewel of American racing, and while Duesenberg-powered cars have competed since 1913, they have never taken the checkered flag. Fred makes modifications to the 3-liter Grand Prix engine, adapting it for the high-speed oval and the unique demands of 500 miles of racing. The result is a masterpiece of engineering, an engine that produces over 100 horsepower while maintaining reliability that rivals passenger car motors. The 1922 Indianapolis 500 belongs to Jimmy Murphy and Duesenberg. Murphy leads for 194 of the 200 laps, crossing the finish line with an average speed of 94 and 48 miles per hour, a new race record. The Duesenberg straight-8 never misses a beat, running cool and smooth while competitors' engines overheat and seize. It is a statement victory, proving that the Le Mans triumph was no fluke. Fred and August stand in victory lane, watching Murphy hoist the trophy, and for a brief moment they allow themselves to savor the achievement. But there is no time for complacency. Rivals are already copying their overhead cam design, and staying ahead requires constant innovation. The dominance continues. In 1924, Coram and Joe Boyer drive a Duesenberg special to victory at Indianapolis after leader Jimmy Murphy crashes fatally in a race earlier that year. The loss of Murphy devastates Fred personally. The young driver had become a close friend, but the racing program never wavers. In 1925, Peter DePaulo pilots a Duesenberg to victory at an average speed of 101 and 1300 miles per hour, becoming the first driver to complete the 500 miles at an average speed exceeding 100 miles per hour. The straight-8 engine is now producing over 120 horsepower, And Fred has added a revolutionary four-wheel hydraulic brake system that gives Duesenberg drivers a decisive advantage in the corners. The 1927 Indianapolis 500 marks the fourth Duesenberg victory in 6 years. George Souders, driving a customer Duesenberg Special, leads 135 laps and wins at an average speed of 97 and 54/100 miles per hour. By this point, over 60% of the cars on American racetracks are powered by Duesenberg engines or direct copies of Fred's overhead cam design. The brothers' engineering influence is so pervasive that rival manufacturers like Harry Miller openly acknowledge their debt to Duesenberg innovation. Miller's own dual overhead cam engines, which will eventually challenge Duesenberg's supremacy at Indianapolis, are direct descendants of Fred's pioneering work. Beyond Indianapolis, Duesenberg racing cars set land speed records with clockwork regularity. In April of 1920, Tommy Milton drives a streamlined Duesenberg Special to a speed of 156 and 46/100 miles per hour on the hard-packed sands of Daytona Beach, Florida, setting a new American land speed record. The car is powered by a modified straight-eight producing 150 horsepower, and Milton later describes the experience as both terrifying and exhilarating. In 1935, Ub Jenkins will drive a supercharged Duesenberg Model J at the Bonneville Salt Flats, averaging 153 and 97/100 miles per hour over 1 full hour, a testament to the longevity and adaptability of Fred's fundamental design. The racing success serves a dual purpose. It validates Duesenberg engineering and finances the brothers' true ambition, building luxury passenger cars. Every victory at Indianapolis generates publicity worth tens of thousands of dollars, and every speed record burnishes the Duesenberg name. Fred understands that wealthy buyers want cars with racing pedigree, and no American manufacturer can match Duesenberg's track record. The straight-eight engine that dominates at Le Mans and Indianapolis becomes the foundation for the Model A passenger car, America's first production automobile with a single overhead cam straight-eight. Racing and road cars are symbiotic, each advancing the other in an endless cycle of innovation. By the late 1920s, the Duesenberg racing program has achieved everything Fred and August set out to accomplish. They have conquered Europe, dominated Indianapolis, and established American automotive engineering as world-class. The era of Duesenberg racing supremacy is waning. Miller engines and European manufacturers are catching up, but the legacy is secure. Every modern racing engine, from Formula One to NASCAR, owes a debt to the pioneering work done in a small Indianapolis workshop by two German immigrants who refused to accept that Europe held a monopoly on engineering genius. There are moments in automotive history when a single innovation redefines everything. In late 1920, the world catches its breath as Fred and August Duesenberg unveil their latest creation at the Commodore Hotel in New York City, an automobile unlike anything American roads have ever seen. The Duesenberg Model A is not simply a car. It is the culmination of decades of racing genius, unwavering ambition, and technical boldness. News spreads fast among the elite and the curious alike. The Model A stands as the first car in America ever to feature a straight-eight engine paired with four-wheel hydraulic brakes, a combination that would leave engineers, rivals, and buyers in awe. For Fred Duesenberg, this car is more than mechanical achievement. It is a declaration of intent. Engineered with lessons gleaned from victory circles and defeat alike, the Model A brings race-honed technology into the hands of everyday drivers. Well, those whose pockets run deep enough to afford the privilege. Its straight-eight engine, a 4.3-liter masterpiece, delivers 88 horsepower and unprecedented smoothness. Hemispherical combustion chambers, overhead cam gear, and twin valves per cylinder ensure efficient breathing and high revving capability. Cast iron block and detachable head meet aluminum crankcases, speaking volumes to anyone who knows their metallurgy. Fred is relentless, delaying production for months to perfect every detail, refusing to let compromise tarnish this symbol of excellence. The design process is grueling and marked by dramatic setbacks. Fred's decision to move headquarters and manufacturing from Newark, New Jersey to Indianapolis, Indiana throws the company into logistical chaos. Engineers work round the clock amid shifting blueprints, experimental carburetors, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. Every test drive is both a promise and a threat. The Model A must exceed its European rivals or face ridicule. The car's production debut is delayed almost 6 months over a single change. The valve train moves from the old horizontal system to a shaft-driven single overhead cam, just like the Grand Prix winning racing engines. By May 1921, the first Model A finally rolls out of the Indiana factory. On paper, the Model A is formidable. It boasts a top speed of 71 miles per hour, a 3-speed manual transmission, and a fuel economy of about 18 to 22 miles per gallon, numbers that astonish an age still haunted by sluggish 6-cylinder sedans. The car is engineered to be lighter than its competitors by nearly 400 pounds, using aluminum wherever possible and pressing steel into elegant ladder frames. For doors swing wide on the Bender coachwork, revealing interiors fitted for royalty, with seating for 4 and details hand-assembled by master craftsmen. The Model A promises not just transportation, but arrival, the sort of car designed to let all of Iowa know you've made it. The centerpiece of the Model A is its hydraulic braking system. While rival manufacturers rely on clunky mechanical linkages, Fred insists on the fluid smoothness and unyielding strength of brakes designed by Lockheed Corporation. 16-inch fin drums dissipate heat at the front and rear, ensuring stopping power even after long high-speed runs. Early buyers marvel not just at the car's speed, but its ability to halt from 60 miles per hour with silent confidence. This safety innovation earns Duesenberg immediate notoriety in motoring circles. After all, what good is a fast car if you can't stop it? Yet the reality behind the luxury is fraught with tension. The Model A's price is towering, alienating every buyer but the nation's wealthiest. The Bender Coupe's aluminum body and custom interiors quickly destroy profit margins, and Fred refuses to cut corners on quality. The factory struggles to balance technical ambition with commercial survival. The demand is tepid at first. Between 1921 and 1926, fewer than 600 Model A cars are sold. A crushing disappointment for a company hoping to transform luxury motoring in America. Wealthy athletes and socialites adore Duesenberg's engineering, but their numbers are far too small to sustain the business. Public reception is a paradox. Motoring magazines celebrate the Model A as a technological marvel, even as financial analysts decry its high production costs. For Duesenberg, every car sold is both triumph and tragedy. The car is lighter, faster, and safer than anything built on American soil, but the company's coffers remain perilously thin. Rumors of insolvency circulate among creditors. Racing victories cannot offset the relentless drain of overhead. Employees work on 4 Model A cars at a time, hand-fitting components and refining finishings, but no assembly line can accelerate the luxury that Duesenberg demands. Every coupe or touring model that leaves the Indianapolis factory is both a testament to perfection and a reminder of commercial struggle. As the 1920s progress, the company's financial position worsens. Receivership looms by 1926, with creditors circling. Employees whisper about bankruptcy, even as factory doors remain open in hope of a last-minute savior. Fred continues to work with the fevered intensity that has always defined him, but political maneuvering and market realities are indifferent to genius. The Model A may be a commercial disappointment, but it is an artistic and engineering triumph. A car that lives on in the memory of every driver and mechanic fortunate enough to see, hear, or touch it. By the time the last Model A rolls off the line, Fred and August Duesenberg have achieved something extraordinary. They have forced the industry to evolve, setting standards that will echo for generations. The Model A, less than 700 built, represents a dream that soared and crashed in equal measure. The Duesenberg brothers are not finished yet. History shows that even failed luxury can lay the rails for legends. Sometimes the fastest path to greatness is paved with the heartbreak of commercial defeat. Sometimes salvation arrives wearing a tailored suit and driving an Auburn. By 1926, Duesenberg Automobile and Motors Company is drowning in debt, suffocating under the weight of its own ambition. The Model A, brilliant as it is, has failed to generate enough sales to keep creditors at bay. Fred and August Duesenberg face the cruelest irony of their careers. Their engineering genius has built America's finest automobile, yet commercial success remains maddeningly out of reach. Enter Eric Laban Cord, a 32-year-old transportation industrialist with ice in his veins and gold in his vision. Cord is not interested in saving Duesenberg out of charity. He sees an opportunity to dominate the luxury car market by combining his business acumen with the Duesenberg brothers' unmatched engineering prowess. Cord's rise is as meteoric as it is ruthless. Born in Missouri in 1894, he starts his career selling used cars in Los Angeles, quickly earning a reputation as a salesman who can move inventory others deem unsellable. By the early 1920s, Cord has parlayed his sales skills into executive positions, eventually taking control of the struggling Auburn Automobile Company in 1924. Within 2 years, he transforms Auburn from a nearly bankrupt manufacturer into a profitable enterprise producing stylish, mid-priced automobiles. His secret is understanding that cars are not merely transportation, they are aspirational symbols. Cord knows how to market desire, and he recognizes that acquiring Duesenberg will give him instant credibility in the ultra-luxury segment. The acquisition happens swiftly and decisively. Cord purchases Duesenberg Automobile and Motors Company in October of 1926, assuming control of all assets, patents, and personnel. Fred and August Duesenberg are retained as chief engineers, with Fred given carte blanche to design the most extravagant automobile America has ever seen. Cord's mandate is simple but audacious. Create a car so magnificent, so technically advanced, and so expensive that it makes Cadillac, Packard, and Lincoln look pedestrian. Money is no object. Cord wants a halo car that will elevate his entire automotive empire. Fred Duesenberg, freed from the burden of financial management and empowered by Cord's deep pockets, sets to work with renewed fury. The vision for what will become the Model J takes shape throughout 1927. Fred envisions a straight-eight engine nearly twice the displacement of the Model A, producing over 265 horsepower, more than any passenger car in the world. The engine will feature dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, and hemispherical combustion chambers, borrowing heavily from Grand Prix racing technology. Lycoming, another company owned by Cord, will manufacture the engines to Fred's exacting specifications. The chassis will be massive, with a standard wheelbase of 142.5 inches, capable of accommodating custom coachwork from the world's finest bodybuilders. Every component, from the aluminum pistons to the forged steel crankshaft, will be engineered for performance and longevity. Cord understands that technical excellence alone will not sell cars. He assembles a dream team of designers, engineers, and marketers to create not just an automobile, but a cultural phenomenon. Gordon Bierig, a brilliant young designer, is brought in to oversee body styling coordination with the various coach builders. Cord personally approves every detail, from the iconic vertical chrome grille bars to the twin trumpet horns mounted on either side of the radiator. The Model J will be sold as a rolling chassis, allowing wealthy buyers to commission custom bodywork from legendary coach builders like LeBaron, Rolston, Derham, and Murphy. This bespoke approach ensures that no two Model JS are identical, reinforcing the car's exclusivity. The pricing strategy is as bold as the car itself. Cord sets the base chassis price at $8,500, an enormous sum in 1928, but still only the beginning. Custom coachwork adds another $10,000 to $20,000, bringing the total price to between $20,000 and $25,000. To put this in perspective, a new Ford Model T costs $290, and the average American worker earns approximately $1,500 per year. The Model J is not a car for doctors or lawyers. It is a car for industrialists, movie stars, and royalty. Cord knows his target market intimately. People for whom price is irrelevant and exclusivity is everything. The launch of the Model J is orchestrated with Hollywood-level spectacle. On December 1, 1928, Cord unveils the car at the New York Automobile Salon, held at the Commodore Hotel. The automotive press is invited to witness what Cord boldly proclaims as the world's finest motor car. The Model J's specifications are staggering: 265 horsepower, a top speed of 116 miles per hour, and the ability to reach 90 miles per hour in second gear. Four-wheel hydraulic brakes, borrowed from the Model A but enlarged and improved, provide stopping power that rivals racing cars. The straight-eight engine idles with a whisper-quiet smoothness that astonishes engineers accustomed to the rough vibrations of competing engines. The immediate reaction is a mix of awe and skepticism. Automotive journalists praise the Model J's technical achievements, with Motor Magazine declaring it the most powerful and fastest passenger car in America. Wealthy buyers place orders within weeks of the announcement, drawn by the combination of Duesenberg's racing pedigree and Cord's marketing genius. However, critics question whether there is a sustainable market for a car this expensive. The United States economy is booming in 1928, but storm clouds are gathering on the horizon. Cord dismisses the concerns, confident that the ultra-wealthy will always exist and always demand the best. He is betting Duesenberg's future on the assumption that luxury is recession-proof. Behind the scenes, Fred Duesenberg works tirelessly to refine every aspect of the Model J. He personally tests prototypes, driving them at high speeds for hours to identify weaknesses and areas for improvement. The dual overhead cam system requires precise timing, and Fred experiments with different valve springs and camshaft profiles to optimize performance. He insists on using only the finest materials: chrome-nickel steel for the crankshaft, aluminum for the pistons, cast iron for the block. Every component is over-engineered, designed to withstand stresses far beyond what normal driving will impose. Fred is building a car that will last decades, not merely years. The partnership between Cord and the Duesenberg brothers is symbiotic but tense. Cord provides the capital and business infrastructure that Fred and August could never muster on their own. In return, the Duesenbergs deliver engineering excellence that transforms Cord's automotive empire into a luxury powerhouse. However, the relationship is not without friction. Fred bristles at Cord's insistence on aggressive production timelines, arguing that quality cannot be rushed. Cord, ever the businessman, pushes for efficiency and profitability, knowing that even the wealthiest buyers will not wait forever for delivery. The tension is creative rather than destructive, driving both men to achieve more than either could alone. By mid-1929, the Model J is in full production, with orders backlogged for months. Wealthy Americans clamor to own the ultimate status symbol, and Duesenberg becomes synonymous with uncompromising luxury. Cord's gamble has paid off spectacularly, at least for now. The Model J represents the pinnacle of 1920s excess and optimism, a monument to American engineering and entrepreneurial ambition. Fred and August Duesenberg, once struggling immigrants tinkering with bicycles in Iowa, now stand at the apex of the automotive world. Their names are spoken with reverence in boardrooms and racetracks alike. The rescue is complete, and the rebirth is glorious. Picture the most powerful engine ever mounted in a passenger car. Now imagine it nestled beneath a hood so long it requires an artistic eye just to appreciate its proportions. The Duesenberg Model J, unveiled at the New York Automobile Salon in December of 1928, is not simply an automobile. It is a rolling cathedral of engineering excellence. Its 6.9-liter straight-eight engine produces 265 horsepower, more than double the output of any competitor. With dual overhead camshafts and 4 valves per cylinder, the Model J can accelerate to 90 miles per hour in second gear alone and achieve a top speed of 116 miles per hour. These are not marketing exaggerations. They are certified, repeatable facts that leave European manufacturers speechless. The heart of the Model J is Fred Duesenberg's magnum opus. The 420 cubic inch straight-eight engine represents the pinnacle of 1920s automotive engineering, combining lessons learned from a decade of Grand Prix racing with innovations that won't become industry standard for another generation. Each engine features hemispherical combustion chambers that promote efficient fuel burn and maximize power output. The crankshaft rides on 5 main bearings, ensuring smoothness at all engine speeds. Aluminum pistons reduce reciprocating mass, allowing the engine to rev freely to 4,200 revolutions per minute, stratospheric for an engine of this displacement. Every component is machined to tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch, and each engine is hand-assembled by master mechanics at Lycoming's factory in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The chassis is equally impressive. Duesenberg ships the Model J as a rolling chassis with a standard wheelbase of 142.5 inches, though a longer 153.5-inch version is available for limousines and formal sedans. The frame is constructed from chrome-nickel steel, heat-treated for maximum strength while minimizing weight. Four-wheel hydraulic brakes, a Duesenberg innovation since the Model A, are enlarged to 15-inch drums capable of hauling the massive car down from triple-digit speeds without fade. The suspension uses semi-elliptic leaf springs front and rear, tuned to provide a ride quality that contemporary journalists describe as floating on air. Every detail screams quality, from the forged steel front axle to the vacuum-assisted brakes that require minimal pedal effort. What truly distinguishes the Model J from every competitor is the bespoke coachwork. Buyers purchase the rolling chassis for approximately $8,500, then commission custom bodywork from America's finest coach builders. LeBaron, Rolston, Derham, Judkins, Bowman and Schwartz, Murphy, Willoughby, and Brunn all create spectacular bodies for the Model J, each one a unique masterpiece. A dual-cowl Phaeton might cost an additional $12,000, pushing the total price to over $20,000. A formal town car with hand-rubbed walnut interior panels and silk curtains can exceed $25,000, equivalent to over $400,000 in today's money. The Model J is not transportation. It is wearable architecture, a statement that wealth and taste have converged in a single owner. The celebrities and industrialists who purchase Model JS read like a who's who of American aristocracy. Gary Cooper, the laconic Hollywood leading man, orders a supercharged Model SJ in 1932, using it to commute between movie sets and his Bel Air mansion. Clark Gable, Cooper's rival both on-screen and off, immediately orders his own Model SJ to prove he is every bit Cooper's equal. William Randolph Hearst, the newspaper magnate, purchases multiple Duesenbergs for his San Simeon estate, using them to ferry guests between the castle and the airstrip. European royalty, including King Alfonso XIII of Spain and Prince Nicholas of Romania, add Model JS to their stables, recognizing that American engineering has finally matched European craftsmanship. The car becomes the ultimate status symbol, eclipsing Rolls-Royce, Hispano-Suiza, and every other luxury mark. The build quality borders on obsessive. Fred Duesenberg personally inspects critical components, rejecting parts that meet engineering specifications but fail to satisfy his intuitive sense of excellence. Crankshafts are X-rayed to detect internal flaws invisible to the naked eye. Connecting rods are weight-matched to within grams to ensure perfect balance. Cylinder bores are honed to mirror finishes, reducing friction and extending engine life. The result is an engine that can run for hundreds of thousands of miles with minimal maintenance, unheard of in an era when most cars require rebuilding every 50,000 miles. Owners report driving their Model JS at sustained speeds of 80 miles per hour across the American West without mechanical complaint, a testament to engineering integrity that shames mass-produced competitors. The Model J establishes performance benchmarks that will stand for decades. In independent testing, automotive journalists clock 0 to 60 mile-per-hour acceleration in less than 13 seconds, faster than nearly every sports car of the era. Fuel economy, admittedly not a priority for Model J buyers, hovers around 8 to 12 miles per gallon depending on driving style and body configuration. The 3-speed manual transmission, built by Warner, features a double-plate clutch that engages smoothly despite the engine's massive torque output. Contemporary road tests marvel at the car's ability to cruise effortlessly at 70 miles per hour while the engine barely loafs along at 2,000 revolutions per minute. The straight-eight's immense displacement and long stroke provide low-end torque that makes the Model J feel unstoppable. The interior appointments match the mechanical excellence. Depending on the coach builder, Model J interiors feature hand-stitched leather upholstery, burled walnut dashboards, and instrumentation that resembles Swiss watch movements. The dashboard displays a comprehensive array of gauges including oil pressure, water temperature, fuel level, and an altimeter-style speedometer that reads to 120 miles per hour. Some models include a dashboard-mounted barometer and chronometer, because why shouldn't a car costing the equivalent of a mansion include navigational instruments? Owners customize their cars with monogrammed door panels, fitted luggage sets, and even built-in vanity cases with crystal perfume bottles. The Model J is not just driven, it is experienced. The cultural impact of the Model J extends beyond the automotive world. The phrase, "it's a doozy," enters American slang, derived from Duesenberg and meaning something exceptional or outstanding. When someone wants to describe an accomplishment or object of superlative quality, they invoke the Duesenberg name. The car appears in films, newsreels, and high society gossip columns, always representing the pinnacle of achievement and taste. Owning a Duesenberg becomes shorthand for having arrived at the summit of American success. The car transcends its mechanical function to become a symbol, an idea, a dream rendered in chrome and steel. But beneath the glamour and technical brilliance, storm clouds gather. The Model J debuts in December of 1928, less than a year before the stock market crash that will usher in the Great Depression. In 1929, Duesenberg sells approximately 200 cars, impressive given the price, but far below the volume needed to sustain operations. Ford's automotive empire is leveraged heavily, and the Model J's high production costs leave little margin for error. Fred Duesenberg, focused entirely on engineering perfection, pays scant attention to the economic warning signs. He continues refining the Model J, developing the supercharged SJ variant that will debut in 1932. The Model J represents the apex of an era, the final glorious moment before gravity reasserts itself and hubris meets harsh reality. In the depths of the Great Depression, when rational business thinking demands retrenchment and economy, Fred Duesenberg does the opposite. He designs a supercharger. By 1932, Duesenberg sales have collapsed to a trickle, and Ford's financial empire teeters on the edge of insolvency. Yet Fred, ever the racing engineer, sees an opportunity to create something even more extreme than the Model J. The result is the Model SJ, a supercharged variant that boosts engine output to 320 horsepower and propels the already formidable Duesenberg to stratospheric performance levels. Top speed exceeds 130 miles per hour, and the SJ can hit 104 miles per hour in second gear alone. It is automotive insanity, and wealthy thrill seekers cannot resist. The supercharger system is elegantly engineered. A centrifugal Schwitzer-Cummins blower, driven off the crankshaft via a gear train, forces air into the intake manifold at 5 pounds per square inch of boost. The additional air allows the engine to burn more fuel, generating the substantial power increase. 2 chrome exhaust pipes exit dramatically from the right side of the hood, announcing to the world that this is no ordinary Duesenberg. The exhaust note is thunderous, a mechanical symphony that turns heads for blocks. Fred designs the system to be reliable despite the increased stress, upgrading internals and carefully managing cooling. The SJ proves that even in the 1930s, there is no replacement for displacement except forced induction. But the SJ is merely the opening act. In 1935, with Duesenberg circling the financial drain, the company builds 2 of the most legendary automobiles in history, the SSJ. These are not customer cars. They are promotional vehicles designed to generate publicity and attract Hollywood's elite. The SSJ features a short 125-inch wheelbase chassis, making it lighter and more agile than standard Model JS. The supercharged engine is tuned to produce an estimated 400 horsepower, a figure that remains unverified but entirely plausible given the modifications. The SSJ is capable of reaching 140 miles per hour, making it the fastest production car in the world. Only 2 are built, and they are delivered to the 2 biggest movie stars in Hollywood, Gary Cooper and Clark Gable. Gary Cooper receives his SSJ in May of 1935, finished in gunmetal gray with red leather interior. Cooper, known for playing stoic cowboys and heroic adventurers on screen, is equally adventurous behind the wheel. He drives the SSJ daily, using it to commute from his Bel Air estate to Paramount Studios, often exceeding 100 miles per hour on the primitive roads connecting Los Angeles to the San Fernando Valley. Fellow drivers report seeing Cooper's Duesenberg flash past in a blur of chrome and exhaust smoke, the supercharger howl announcing his presence seconds before he disappears over the horizon. Cooper tells friends that the SSJ is the only car that matches his need for speed, and he pushes it to its limits at every opportunity. Clark Gable, never one to be outdone by a rival, orders his SSJ immediately upon hearing that Cooper has one. Gable's car is delivered in June of 1935, painted in elegant black with tan leather upholstery. The competition between Cooper and Gable is legendary in Hollywood circles. Both men are alpha males, both are box office gold, and both refuse to concede superiority in any arena. The SSJs become proxies for their rivalry, with friends reporting impromptu drag races on Sunset Boulevard and Mulholland Drive. Gable's driving style is more aggressive than Cooper's, pushing the Duesenberg through corners at speeds that terrify passengers. He loves the SSJ's brutal acceleration and makes no attempt to drive it discreetly. For Gable, the car is an extension of his persona, powerful, dangerous, and impossible to ignore. The stories of Cooper and Gable racing their SSJs through Hollywood become the stuff of legend. According to witnesses, the 2 stars occasionally encounter each other on Los Angeles roads, and what begins as friendly acknowledgement inevitably escalates into flat-out racing. The SSJs are evenly matched, and neither man is willing to back down. They blast through traffic lights, weave between slower cars, and push the supercharged engines to redline in every gear. Local police, recognizing the distinctive Duesenbergs and knowing the clout of their owners, wisely choose not to intervene. These are not reckless teenagers, these are Hollywood royalty, and the normal rules do not apply. The races always end in draws, with both men claiming victory over drinks at the Brown Derby. The SSJ's influence extends beyond Hollywood gossip columns. Automotive enthusiasts recognize the cars as the ultimate expression of American performance engineering, combining massive power with elegant styling and hand-built quality. The SSJ proves that Duesenberg's racing heritage is not merely marketing. It is embedded in the company's DNA. Every component is engineered for maximum performance, from the lightweight bodywork to the racing-inspired suspension. The SSJ can corner at speeds that leave European sports cars struggling to keep pace, and the brakes, enlarged versions of the already formidable Model J system, provide stopping power that borders on violent. This is not a gentleman's touring car. This is a weapon. The production of only 2 SSJs is both a marketing triumph and a financial disaster. The cars generate enormous publicity, newspaper articles, newsreel footage, and Hollywood gossip all trumpet the Duesenberg SSJ as the world's fastest car. Wealthy buyers contact the factory, inquiring about purchasing their own SSJs, but by 1935 Duesenberg lacks the resources to build additional cars. Each SSJ costs far more to produce than any conceivable sale price, and Cord's financial empire is crumbling. The SSJs are essentially gifts to Cooper and Gable, purchased with money the company cannot afford to spend. They are magnificent gestures, but they cannot save Duesenberg from economic reality. Gary Cooper keeps his SSJ until his death in 1961, driving it regularly and maintaining it meticulously. The car becomes one of his most prized possessions, a reminder of Hollywood's golden age and his own peak years. After Cooper's death, the SSJ passes through several collectors before being sold at auction in August of 2018 for $22 million, setting a record for the most expensive American car ever sold. Clark Gable's SSJ follows a similar trajectory, remaining with Gable until his death in 1960 and later selling for a similar astronomical sum. These two cars, built as desperate marketing ploys during the Great Depression, become the most valuable American automobiles in history. The legacy of the SSJ extends far beyond its two examples. The car represents the ultimate what-if in automotive history, what Duesenberg could have achieved if economic circumstances had been different. With unlimited resources, Fred Duesenberg would have created an entire line of high-performance sports cars, challenging European manufacturers on their home turf. The SSJ proves that American engineers could match or exceed anything Europe produced, but the market for such cars evaporates during the Depression. The SSJ becomes a symbol of lost potential, a reminder that genius and ambition are not always enough to overcome economic catastrophe. Two cars, two movie stars, and a legend that will endure as long as automobiles are cherished. July 13th, 1932 begins as an ordinary summer day in Pennsylvania. Fred Duesenberg, 55 years old and at the height of his creative powers, is driving to Detroit with friends to inspect manufacturing facilities and discuss business matters. The road winds through the Allegheny Mountains, and Fred pushes his supercharged Model SJ through the curves with the confidence of a man who has spent his entire life mastering machinery. Around 4 in the afternoon, on a rain-slicked section of Pennsylvania Route 30 near Ligonier, tragedy strikes. The Duesenberg hits a patch of mud, loses traction, and careens off the road, rolling multiple times before coming to rest in a ditch. Fred suffers catastrophic injuries including a broken collarbone, fractured ribs, and severe internal trauma. He is rushed to a local hospital, but the damage is too extensive. Fred Duesenberg dies on July 26, 1932, 13 days after the accident, from complications related to pneumonia that developed from his injuries. The automotive world reacts with shock and grief. Fred is not merely a successful engineer, but a legend who redefined American automotive excellence. Obituaries appear in newspapers across the country, praising his innovations and lamenting the loss of one of America's greatest mechanical minds. The irony is inescapable. The man who built the safest, most advanced automobiles in the world dies in a car accident. His funeral in Indianapolis draws thousands of mourners, including industry titans, racing drivers, and ordinary mechanics who revered Fred as a genius who never forgot his humble origins. August Duesenberg, devastated by the loss of his brother and closest collaborator, delivers a brief eulogy that struggles to capture the magnitude of what has been lost. The company Fred built cannot survive without him. While Cord retains ownership and August remains as chief engineer, the creative spark that drove Duesenberg innovation is extinguished. August is a brilliant mechanic and problem solver, but he lacks Fred's visionary boldness and relentless drive for perfection. The Model J continues in production, but no new models are developed. The supercharged SJ, completed shortly before Fred's death, represents the final flowering of Duesenberg engineering genius. August spends his days maintaining quality control and consulting with customers, but his heart is no longer in the work. Friends report that August ages visibly in the months following Fred's death, the weight of loss and responsibility crushing his spirit. The Great Depression, already devastating to the luxury car market, accelerates its stranglehold on Duesenberg. By 1932, the American economy is in free fall, unemployment exceeds 25%, banks are failing by the hundreds, and conspicuous consumption has become socially unacceptable. The market for $25,000 automobiles effectively disappears. Duesenberg manages to sell only a handful of cars in 1933 and 1934, far below the volume needed to sustain operations. The factory produces most of its rolling chassis in 1929 and 1930, but bodies them throughout the decade as orders trickle in. Many chassis sit unsold in the Indianapolis factory, gathering dust as the company searches desperately for buyers who no longer exist. Cord's financial empire, once seemingly invincible, crumbles under the combined weight of the Depression and poor management. Cord Corporation controls Auburn, Duesenberg, and Cord automobile brands, along with Lycoming engines, Stinson aircraft, and various other transportation-related businesses. The empire is highly leveraged, dependent on continued sales to service massive debts. When sales collapse, the entire structure becomes unstable. Federal investigators begin scrutinizing Cord's financial practices, suspecting manipulation and fraud. Cord, sensing the walls closing in, begins liquidating assets and preparing for an exit. Duesenberg, the crown jewel of his automotive portfolio, is now a liability bleeding money with no prospect of profitability. August Duesenberg attempts to keep the company viable through consulting work. Auburn Automobile Company, another Cord property, hires August to develop special projects including engine modifications and prototype vehicles. The work provides income and keeps August's engineering skills sharp, but it is a pale shadow of the glory years. August also licenses the Duesenberg name to various small manufacturers producing parts and accessories, generating modest royalties. However, these efforts cannot change the fundamental reality. The market for ultra-luxury automobiles has vanished, and it will not return until after World War II. August knows the company is dying but refuses to abandon it, working long hours in the Indianapolis factory even as employees are laid off and equipment is sold. The final Model JS roll off the production line in 1937, though exact numbers remain disputed. Official records indicate that 481 Model JS were produced between 1928 and 1937, including 36 supercharged SJ models and 2 SSJ models. However, some historians argue that several additional cars were assembled from leftover parts in the early 1940s, bringing the true total closer to 500. Regardless of the exact figure, production is minuscule compared to original projections of 500 cars per year. Each car represents a financial loss for the company, as the meticulous hand assembly and custom coachwork consume far more resources than even the astronomical sale prices can justify. In October of 1937, Cord Corporation officially dissolves, and Duesenberg ceases operations. The Indianapolis factory closes its doors permanently, and the remaining assets are liquidated at auction. Employees who have worked for the company for decades find themselves unemployed with no prospects. The Depression has destroyed the job market, and specialized automotive skills are worthless when no one is building cars. August Duesenberg, 62 years old and emotionally exhausted, retires from the automotive industry. He lives quietly in Indianapolis for the remaining 18 years of his life, occasionally consulting on automotive projects but never again approaching the creative heights he reached with Fred. The brothers who came to America with nothing, who conquered racing circuits and redefined luxury, are now footnotes in a history of economic catastrophe. The political dimension of Duesenberg's collapse adds another layer of tragedy. Indianapolis loses its largest employer with barely a whimper of protest from local or federal government. While other industries receive New Deal assistance and government contracts during the Depression, Duesenberg is abandoned to market forces. Some historians speculate that Cord's abrasive personality and suspected financial improprieties made him politically radioactive, ensuring that no government assistance would be forthcoming. Others argue that luxury car manufacturing was viewed as frivolous during a period of national emergency, making it politically impossible to justify bailouts. Regardless of the reasons, Duesenberg receives no government support, and Indianapolis watches helplessly as automotive greatness dies. The human cost is incalculable. Hundreds of skilled craftsmen, engine builders, coachwork specialists, master mechanics, lose not just jobs but entire careers. The knowledge they accumulated, the techniques they perfected, largely disappears with them. A few find work with other manufacturers, but most never again practice their trades at the level Duesenberg demanded. August Duesenberg dies in 1955, having outlived Fred by 23 years but never recovering from the loss. His obituary receives modest attention, noting his contributions to automotive history but failing to capture the magnitude of what the Duesenberg brothers achieved. The dream of two German immigrant boys, realized through decades of relentless work and innovation, ends not with celebration but with silence. The year is 1937, and the dream dies quietly. Duesenberg Motor Company, once the pride of American automotive engineering, closes its Indianapolis factory doors for the final time in October. No dramatic announcement, no press conference, no government intervention. Just silence as workers collect final paychecks and walk away from the 17-acre complex on West Washington Street. The company that built the fastest, most powerful, and most expensive automobiles in American history succumbs to forces beyond its control. Economic catastrophe, loss of leadership, and a market that has utterly vanished. Duesenberg becomes the only major automotive manufacturer to completely collapse during the Great Depression without receiving government assistance or merging into a larger corporation. The abandonment is both political and economic, a calculated decision to let greatness die rather than compromise its principles. The political dimension of Duesenberg's demise reveals uncomfortable truths about American priorities during the Depression. While companies producing mass-market vehicles receive New Deal contracts and government support, Duesenberg is left to sink or swim in a market with no buyers. Some historians argue that Ford's reputation for financial manipulation made his companies politically toxic. No congressman wants to be seen bailing out a suspected fraudster. Others point to the fundamental disconnect between Duesenberg's luxury product and Depression-era values. How can the government justify supporting a company that builds $25,000 cars when millions of Americans are starving? The political calculus is brutal but clear. Duesenberg must die so that politicians can claim they stand with ordinary workers rather than wealthy elites. Indianapolis loses its largest employer with barely a whisper. The 17-acre factory complex that once buzzed with activity. Machinists, engineers, coach builders, painters, falls silent. Over 500 skilled workers find themselves unemployed in a city where manufacturing jobs have evaporated. The specialized knowledge these craftsmen possess, how to hand-fit a dual overhead cam engine, how to create custom coachwork that balances aesthetics and aerodynamics, how to achieve tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch, largely disappears with them. A few find work with other manufacturers or open small repair shops, but most never again practice their trades at the level Duesenberg demanded. An entire ecosystem of suppliers, subcontractors, and service providers collapses along with the main factory, rippling through Indianapolis's economy for years. The remaining Duesenberg assets are sold at auction, scattered to the winds. Machine tools go to other manufacturers. Inventories of parts are purchased by entrepreneurs hoping to service existing Duesenbergs, and the factory buildings are subdivided and leased to unrelated businesses. The most valuable asset, the Duesenberg name and reputation, enters a strange limbo. Various companies over the decades attempt to revive the brand, producing everything from motorcycles to luxury sedans, but none capture the magic of the original. The name becomes a ghost, haunting American automotive history but never truly returning. August Duesenberg lives quietly in Indianapolis until his death in 1955, occasionally consulting but never again approaching the creative heights he reached with Fred. He watches from the sidelines as automotive technology evolves, knowing that many innovations trace their lineage back to his and Fred's pioneering work. Yet the legend refuses to die. As surviving Duesenberg Model J's age, they appreciate rather than depreciate in value. By the 1950s, collectors recognized that these cars represent something irreplaceable, the pinnacle of pre-war American engineering and craftsmanship. Restoration specialists emerge, dedicated to keeping Duesenbergs running and preserving them for future generations. The Auburn Cord Duesenberg Festival, founded in 1955, becomes an annual pilgrimage for enthusiasts. By 1974, the movement achieves its greatest success. The Auburn Cord Duesenberg Automobile Museum opens in Auburn, Indiana, occupying the magnificent Art Deco headquarters building that Cord built in 1930. The museum becomes a cathedral of automotive excellence, housing over 120 classic cars and attracting tens of thousands of visitors annually. The phrase, "it's a doozy," persists in American English long after most people forget its origin. Derived from Duesenberg, the expression means something exceptional, outstanding, or remarkable. When someone describes a storm as a doozy, or a problem as a doozy, or an accomplishment as a doozy, they unknowingly pay homage to Fred and August Duesenberg's relentless pursuit of excellence. The linguistic legacy outlives the company by generations, embedding Duesenberg in the American consciousness in ways that transcend automotive history. It is a form of immortality that the humble German immigrant brothers could never have imagined, their name becoming synonymous with superlative quality in everyday speech. The auction values of surviving Duesenbergs tell their own story. By the early 2000s, prime examples of the Model J routinely sell for over $1 million. Supercharged SJ models command $2 to $3 million. And the two surviving SSJ models, Gary Cooper's and Clark Gable's Hollywood Hot Rods, each sell for over $22 million in 2018, setting records as the most expensive American cars ever sold. These prices reflect not merely scarcity or mechanical excellence, but cultural significance. A Duesenberg represents an era when American engineering could match or exceed anything Europe produced, when craftsmanship mattered more than quarterly profits, when a car could be art as much as transportation. Collectors pay astronomical sums not for machinery, but for tangible connections to a lost age of ambition and excellence. The technical influence of Duesenberg engineering echoes through subsequent decades. Dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, hemispherical combustion chambers, 4-wheel hydraulic brakes, supercharging, all innovations that Fred Duesenberg either pioneered or perfected, become industry standards. Every modern high-performance engine owes a debt to the straight-eight power plants developed in Indianapolis workshops during the 1920s and 30s. Engineers at Ferrari, Porsche, and Chevrolet study Duesenberg designs, understanding that fundamental principles of efficient combustion and robust construction transcend eras. The Model J's engine, designed nearly a century ago, remains a masterclass in how to extract maximum power from internal combustion while maintaining reliability and longevity. In the final analysis, Duesenberg's story is quintessentially American, a tale of immigrant ambition, technological innovation, spectacular success, and tragic collapse. Fred and August Duesenberg arrived in Iowa with nothing, speaking broken English and possessing only mechanical aptitude and work ethic. They built an empire on ingenuity and perseverance, conquering racetracks and luxury markets that European manufacturers considered their exclusive domain. They proved that American engineering could achieve world-class excellence when guided by uncompromising standards. And they fell victim to forces beyond their control, economic catastrophe, and the loss of irreplaceable leadership. The Model J stands as a monument to what American manufacturing can achieve at its absolute peak, a standard against which all subsequent luxury automobiles are measured. The Indianapolis factory site today bears little resemblance to its glory days. Most buildings have been demolished, replaced by warehouses and light industrial facilities. Only one structure remains from the original 17-acre complex, Building Number 3 on South Harding Street, now housing an Indigo bus garage. On its north facade, barely visible beneath decades of grime and weathering, the painted sign Duesenberg Motor Company can still be discerned on clear days. Local preservation groups periodically discuss restoring the sign, recognizing its significance as one of the few physical reminders of Indianapolis's automotive golden age. The building stands as a quiet memorial to the 500 workers who once assembled America's greatest automobiles within its walls. Fred and August Duesenberg's legacy transcends their company's commercial failure. They demonstrated that engineering excellence and uncompromising quality can coexist with commercial ambition, at least temporarily. They proved that immigrants with vision and determination can reshape entire industries. They showed that American manufacturing need not accept second place to European tradition. And they created automobiles so extraordinary that they remain relevant and desirable nearly a century after production ceased. The Duesenberg story is not ultimately about business success or failure. It is about the relentless human drive to create something perfect, something that pushes the boundaries of what is possible. In that quest, Fred and August Duesenberg succeeded beyond measure. Their cars were not just doozies, they were masterpieces. If you've enjoyed this journey through automotive history, share your thoughts in the comments below. What aspect of the Duesenberg story resonates most with you? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the legends who built the automotive world we know today.